Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks so much for popping in. Hope you slept well and that your day's going well. Do you know what? I'm a bit excited today, so I might talk a bit quickly. I've really got to concentrate and slow down because I'm going to use some new stamps. Now, these stamps, we have been showing you some little snippets and samples on social media. They're being released this Friday, so that's the 26th of January. And it's such a wonderful, magical collection. So do check social media out and maybe have a sneaky look on that website on Friday. Now, what I thought I'd do is I'd just use a couple of the new stamps today and mix and match with our older stamps. As you know, Tracy's really good when she's designing and she hand draws and designs all these images. She purposely goes for images that can be used with stamps we've already got. And for me, as a creative, I think that is just wonderful. So this is the design, and I'm going to use one of our lovely new fairies. And this one, she really made me smile. She's called Rogue. And, you know, the effort, this poor fairy, she's struggling pulling up this plant. I'm not sure what sort of plant it is. In my head, it almost looks a little bit like a thistle, but I don't want to call it a specific because I'm not sure. But anyway, look at her, bless her. She's really trying to. Now, I don't know if she's taking it home to put it in a vase, if she's maybe going to use it to make a potion, maybe a magic potion. I don't know, but bless her. I think she needs a bit more oomph. Now, as always, I've decorated my envelope, look, and I've used permanent ink, also some Posca, and when that dries, it will be permanent. So if this was to get wet in the post, it won't run and go all over my card, because that would be terrible. I'd hate somebody to get it and it'd all run. And as you can see, I've mixed and matched with our beautiful stamps that we already have. Nothing difficult here. I often find when I get new stamps, I just want to go back and create a design that, you know, I enjoy. Well, I get so excited, I can't wait. And I love this sentiment, love you to the moon and back. But remember, when you cut them up, you could always just have it as love you. You know, you don't have to use the full sentiment. So I'm going to pop that there, and we'll start as always with a piece of multifarious card, and this is the 6" by 6" pack. And I've mounted mine on a 7x7, but you could just as well put it on an 8x8. Or if you wanted to put it on a 6x6 card and want a little border, just trim 2 of the sides before you start. You get 20 in the pack here. And that gives me quite a few to have a good go and a good play. So as always, my copy of paper, and this is just something I do, double-sided. You know, if I make a bit of a faux pas, I can always turn it over. I love double-sided card. Now, Rogue, she's quite a sizable stamp, and I'm going to use my VersaFine Claire, the Nocturne. So I have the copy paper just for me because I'm not a confident stamper, and it does help me. I also find silhouettes are quite challenging. So again, if you're one of our new followers, or if you're like me, you know, stamping just sometimes it's not my forte. So I just make sure lots of light tapping. Make sure I get a good coverage of ink. And then I'm just going to position her sort of, I'm thinking that sort of angle there. Now again, for me, always keep one hand at some point on. I tend to change my hands, look, but there's always one hand pressing down just so the stamp doesn't move. But for me, as I say, I'm not a confident stamper, so I tend to leave my block on there a while just to let the ink soak into the card. Now, I do know some of the very clever ladies that I work with, you know, they're so good, they can pop the stamp straight on the card, lift it up and get a beautiful image. That isn't me, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's I have problems with my shoulders, my knuckles, I don't know. But I do know for me, I need to just let that ink soak in order to give me a lovely image. And there we go. So for me, it's worth just spending that little bit longer, look, to ensure that I do get a beautiful image. And there's nothing wrong with that. However you feel that, you know, your stamps and your inks work best for you, then that's the way to go. Now, I don't know if you noticed in my design, look, I just thought with this back leg, you can position it, as I say, various ways, but we've got a fabulous new little almost tuft of grass stamp. And this is on a stamp set called Forest Moss. And there's also some little boulders. Look, I'll just stamp them on my copy paper to show you. So we've got this set of 3 boulders. And then there's this gorgeous tuft. There's a large one and a small one. And this is a smaller one, look. And these are going to be so useful. And there's 4. I often, you know me, I love these sets and I find so many uses for them. Now I may just bring my head in, but I just want to see if I can get that back foot. Just look at that. So just resting on that tuft. And I think it just gives her a bit more. She's really put her foot on it to give a bit of oomph. Now, I want to add a little bit of sort of something around her. And on that same Forest Moss set, one of the 4 is this beautiful stamp, which is the same design as that. And again, you know me, this makes a fabulous border, makes a fabulous frame. And guess what? Yes, we can do a wreath from it. You know me. So I'm just going to put a few just sort of on the same level. I think we'll just have a 2nd generation one there. And just that we've got sort of a clump of them. And the same, we'll just put one here, but just off the page, just to add a little bit more interest. And I don't want it symmetrical. And what I'm going to do, just with my fine liner pen, is just sort of there we go. Just for me, give me an idea of where I'm going. And I'm going to give that a blot. Now, I do often get asked why I do the stamping first, and that's just the way I work. Because I'm not a confident stamper, I like to do my stamping, the main image first, work my way around, and then I will add some more stamping. But as always, you know, we come on here just to give you inspiration. So you can take it, if you like to make your background first, you know, create how you feel best. Now, I'm going to come in with these mini hill masks. And I just want to see, I think this one we can get just along. Sometimes, you know, just turning it over can give you... Right, I'm going to go with that. That captures them 3. And I'm going to come in with the elements and the pine. Thought I've not used pine for a while. I don't know about you, but I have favourite greens I go for. And poor pine hasn't been used for a while. So, again, just blend it in the lid. And I'm just going to put one. And again, if I want to have a look, I can pick that up. And I like that because it's got the tuft, but we have missed her feet. But not to worry, because look, I can get another, just pick a little bit more. I can get another little layer just in here. Now I'm just going to give that a wipe before I put it away. And then we'll have another, what should we go? Now, be mindful when you're doing this. You don't want to sort of cut her, I was going to say cut her in half, that sounds awful, but sort of just be careful where, depending where the hills are, it looks better in some places than others, is what I'm saying. So I think there, if I just follow the line of a leg there, that'll be fine. Now this I'm more going to tickle because I don't want it as dark. To help with our perspective, the landscape would be lighter. Now, I could mask her wing here, but you know what? These brushes are so good. Look, I can just go round her wing. It's not a problem at all. And lift that off. And if I turn it round, you can see just how it's building up. So we'll give this one a wipe. I don't want to put them away dirty. And then lastly, we'll come in, just turn around. Just for me, it's easier. And then this one I can go well above her head. Just capture that there. And I'm not going to add any more ink because obviously just this is going to be in the distance and this will be nice and faint. And again, I can go around a look. The stencil brushes are so good for this. And I'm just going to pop those away. Now, I know you're going to ask me, what about this little tuft? Well, I have a plan for that before I put my ink away. Now, you know I love the number 3 brushes. So with that look, I can come in, same colour ink, and look at that. And while I'm at it, I can just add a little bit of shade if I want under. But look at that. That's coloured that tuft perfectly. And I know it matches. Same ink. So useful. Now we want a moon. So we'll come in with that. And again, you know me, I like to turn it round. And I'm going to put the moon here because it mimics the shape there with the hills. And I'm going to use my blue atoll for this. Really into this colour. And this is quite an old ink pad, so I know it's not very strong. As I mentioned yesterday, I've got a new one, which is very strong. The difference is amazing. So I keep my older one, and I love having the two, because this older one, it's perfect for skies. And if you're somebody who struggles, you know, that's one thing that's really good to do is keep an older one, because you've got less chance, look, of getting marks. Look at that beautiful blending. Now it might not show up. It's so faint, but that's the beauty of having an older ink pad. So for me, as soon as, I mean, I do use this colour a lot, but as soon as I realised the ink pad started to fade, I bought myself a new one so that I could keep the older one. I know it's right on them, so I know which is my new one. And I'm just going to give that a wipe. And then we'll pop that back. And again, you can see, this is just the way we've quite often built up our designs. So what I want to look at now is I want to add a little bit more stamping here, almost to give me more of a foreground. And for this, I'm going to use the fabulous woodland ferns. I use these so much. Larger one and a smaller one on the set. Just need to take that off there. I'm going to use the larger one first. And I've chosen the verdant because I almost think it blends beautifully with this green. And I'm going to stamp quite a few of these. And I just find it just helps giving me a little bit of something, as I say, in the foreground. And I'm just altering the angle, look. A little bit of first and second generation. And again, I'm just being mindful to give that a wipe. So I'm just one of those that cleans the stamps. Now again, we're all different. Some people do, some people don't. For me, I just use a damp cloth and then I just wipe on my Inky Binky, which is just a piece of cotton. Was white once, not so long ago. But for me, that works. If you're somebody who doesn't, that's fine. The only reason I clean my stamps is that I don't want to pick them up, get ink on my fingers and get it on my work. I've done that a few times and spoilt my design. So I try and keep my hands as clean as possible. Now, if you look, we've got some foreground here, but for me, because we've got a lot of the black stamping, if I bring a little bit in here, it will really help and it will make it look a cohesive design. Often, if you're not sure, what you can do is take a photograph of your card at this point, add the black stamping, take another and compare the two. So I'm not going to overdo this, but I just want a couple, and it really will bring this right to the forefront of the picture. But like I say, give it a cohesive feel. So can you see the difference this side and this side? And it's really grounding that picture. And these are just all lovely little hints and tips that we like to share with you. Just little ways of making your designs look even better. Just want another one there. Yes, lovely. Happy with that. So again, just with a damp cloth and then my inky binky. And then I can pop that back on and put it away. When I'm creating designs, I try to put my stamps away and keep it all neat and organised. I say try. So the next stamp we're going to use is this fabulous maple leaf. And as you know, I really love this. But I think if you look at the acetate, I need something at the top. But I don't want to overcook it with the top. So we'll use the same two colours. So I'll come in first with the verdant. And I don't want to overdo it. So I'm going to pop one there. And I love using the two colours. If you've not done it in your sort of your foliage, do have a go and see. And I'm just doing the lighter colour first, just because for me it helps. I know I clean my stamps, but you can get a little bit of contamination with your ink pads. And again, me being me, I like to try and keep them as clean as possible. So I really want to work on the corners. I don't want to go right across because I love this shape here. So I've done my little bit of green first. And I know we're going to a black, which is a darker colour, but I still want to just give my stamp a white, just for me, as I say, just to try and stop any contamination on my ink pads. And for me, I just think it's good practice, but as I say, everybody's different. So again, you could take a picture of your work at this point and then just add, and I'm only going to come in with the two, but if I show you, then you can compare the two corners. You see, for me, I just think that little bit of black there, just look how the whole, when we say cohesive design, it really does blend and look like it's supposed to be there. Here, just looks like something's missing. I have to say, I've had so much fun with these new stamps and had so many ideas. And still got so many ideas. And I always start off with favourites, and then as I use the others, they become favourites, and then before I know it, they become favourites. So I'm just going to give this a bit of a blot. Just because VersaFine Clair, it's your slower drying ink, and I'm going to blend some colour around the edge, and I don't want to smudge those leaves that I've just carefully stamped. So I'm going to come in now. I just want to add a bit more depth, so I'm going to come in with the dark denim. And you can use your brush for this. I just find for me, I like to use one of our sponges. But it's whatever you're comfortable with. And again, I'm afraid I don't wash my brushes, I don't wash my sponges, so don't judge me. I always start on the corner, look, because I want the corner darker, and then I'll just drag that colour along the base. And then for me, I turn my work, picking up from the lid, and again into that corner, once a little bit deeper. So into the corner, and then when I've got less ink, just up the side. Now, I must admit, my sponge is a very old one, and look, little bits will come off. I just try and ignore those. I've done that thing in the past of brushing them, and if they've got ink on, you tend to get smudges. So they'll fall off later. So I'm just going to ignore them. And into this corner, and it really gives that stamping a real sort of moody feel. And along the top, look. And then last corner, and then down the side. And then when I've got less ink, just that top bit I want to blend out a little bit more. I'm just going to get rid of some ink and just gently, gently blend a little bit more colour. And it is very gently, gently. And what I do then is have a look, and if either of the sides, this one I'm not that keen on. So again, gently, gently, when I've got less ink, just come in and gently, that's better. Same with this one, just a little bit of gently, gently. And again, I'm just going to get rid of any little, there we go. Now, I do want to clean this up. So if you bear with me a minute. So all I'm going to do, now you could get a spare piece of card and drag that through, but I'm just going to clean up. Just so it's a little bit quicker. Mind you, I hope you've got a brew. How are you doing? You got yourself a snack? Or are you being good? I know it's January, a lot of people are being good, so it might be a brew only. Have you seen the beautiful new Lavinia mugs for your brews? You definitely need one of those. So what we'll do next is add a little bit of colour here. And we'll come in with our watercolour pencils. And again, when it comes to adding colour, you know, there are so many different colours you could choose for her wings. I did wonder whether to go down the blue route because we've got blue, but then I thought, do you know what? I'm going to add some pizzazz to it, so we'll go my favourite colour. A bit of red, a bit of orange, and then a bit of yellow. And I thought I would tie that in with her hair look. So I'm actually going to give her a little bit of orange. So she's a bit of an auburn. And then I'm going to come in with my yellow. The movement in her hair is amazing. Just catch each one of those lovely strands that Tracy's drawn. And then add a little bit more depth there. There we go. Now again, watercolour pencils, so you could add water, but at this point I'll come in with our lovely Wink of Stella. So this will blend the colours but also add some lovely shine. So again, I'm going into the yellow first, and then it just blends this lovely colour. And also if there's any strands I've missed, it will just blend the colour onto those strands. And just give that beautiful glow. I mean, I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but it is beautiful. And then on the wing, I'll start with the yellow first, and then blend that into the orange look, and then finally blend that into the red, and just drag a little bit of the red down on the outside. But I will have some red on my pen, so just clean it on my kitchen towel, and then we're back to the Wink of Stella. So I'll just add a little bit round the moon. There we go. And then let's just add a little bit of shading. So our pastel pencils for this. And I've got the black. And we'll just add just a little bit. We don't need a lot. just and under this lovely tuft here. And I'm just going to use a cotton bud. Sometimes I use my fingers. I'm trying to be good today because I thought when I use my fingers then, oh mind you, look at that, it's got blue on it already. Just a bit more. I just think the shading, especially on this tuft, you're going to have so much fun with these tufts. But yeah, like that. So I'll just grab the white and then we'll add a little bit of highlight just where the moon will just catch on these, and then just we'll give her a little bit of a cheek. I'm not going to overthink this. A little bit of shape on her shoulder. She's got a gorgeous tum. Look at that. She's definitely been working out. Maybe it's trying to pull all these plants up. Maybe that's what she does for a living. Maybe it's a weed. Do you think she's a secret fairy that comes and weeds your garden when you're asleep? Do you know what I could do with one of those? Just a little bit. I don't want to overcook that. And again, pastel, I'm just going to give it a little bit of a smudge. Just because A, I think it looks better, but B, then it just doesn't need setting. So what I'm going to do around the edge, if you look, now you could leave it at this point if you wanted. I just love this sort of mottled effect, but also to me, if your blending isn't as perfect as you want, this is a great way of hiding it. So my fan brush is in my water pot and I'm just going to come and tap a little bit of water just round the edge, just where we've got that extra bit of blending. And I'm just going to turn it round. I find it easier for me if I have my brush in the middle. I just find then the most of the water does go around the edge. If I get some in the middle, it doesn't matter, but I really want it more round that edge to give me that lovely mottled. And as I say, if there's any bits, say the blending you're not keen on, add a little bit extra water. And honestly, it really will just distract. And then we need that to just dry. So just while it dries, I'm going to show you, I keep lots of strips of, oh look, I've just put ink on this one, never mind. I keep lots of strips of card. I don't know about you, I save everything. And our lovely sentiments. So what I tend to do when I get new sentiments is I stamp them on lots of strips ready to use on my design. And then this I can cut up as I wish. As I say, it can just be love you to the moon and back. You can use, put it on as a whole sentiment or just use odd little bits. Now, I'm just going to give this a bit of a pat. And look at that faux bleaching. For me, that makes such a difference. And the Multi-Fairies card takes the colour so well. Just giving it a little bit of a dry. And again, always dry your card from the front and the back. Then for this design, just for the last little finishing touch, I'm going to come in with some of the yellow sparkle Posca. Now it's great, you can buy the Poscas now on their own, so you don't have to buy a full set. And this yellow one, I've got to be honest, this was the first one I used up from my set, so I bought two because I don't want to be without it. And what I'm going to do is just add a little bit, just let me check it's working, just a little bit of highlight. Now this is the PC3 ML, just because I know you'll ask about the different size of nibs, and I'm just using it as a little bit of almost like this beautiful gold highlight. If you're not sure about this, what you can do, if you, the nib, I know a few of you have asked about nib size, you can always put some ink on your mat or an acrylic block and paint it on. I just think it adds a little bit of extra oomph. And I'm just going to here on her beautiful wings, look. Maybe just a little bit catch that one. I don't want to overcook it, but just up here on my beautiful, Tracy's drawn those veins on the leaves. So I'm just going to highlight them with my, and then finally I'm just going to add a couple of little splats down here, just at the base. And that will show up beautifully. If you're not keen on doing your splats that way, just add yourself some little dots, look. Again, doesn't matter. But I'm going to lift that up to show you, hopefully if I can. You see the difference for me, that gold just gives it. And I just think, our Rogue, I know I'm going to use her so much. So I'm going to give that a wipe. Going to pop that there, bring in the envelope and then the original design. See if we can get them, you know what I'm like, more or less there, aren't they? But like I say, I have got so many ideas and ways to use her. So thank you very much for popping in. I do hope you like what you see. And honestly, this is just a small part. Keep an eye on social media. Have a look. We've got the most amazing little remedy bottles. We've got a couple of other new fairies. Some gorgeous flowers. Another sentiment. Anyway, you know what? I've kept you for long enough, but I'm so excited. So you take care. Thanks as always for your support and for all your lovely comments. You take care of yourself and honestly enjoy what you do. If you're anything like me, you're going to have so much fun. Any questions, just ask. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.